Testing, testing. Hello, everyone. Hope you guys had a great day. I know this was kind of a last minute thing, so hopefully you guys will be able to join. I am live in the Discord if you guys are interested in stopping by. you're welcome to come in. I'm going to go live on my live in Discord so that we can go through today's trades, discuss market, discuss mistakes made today, and also, maybe discuss up and coming trades that look somewhat promising based on some news that just came in. Has something to do with Stargate. So anyhow, I will get right into my trades for the day. And as people join, I will answer questions and, work with them. But right now, I'm just going to show the recap of my trades today. I had three losing trades right out of the gates today. And it was because I did not stick to my main rules. And I will explain and show you what I did, what I did wrong, what I need to work on. I mean, the trades looked great. Otherwise, just didn't work out because of other rules that I need to follow. And I will show you those rules and where I broke them, how I broke them. So let's get right into it. By the way, I'm Metal and I'm with Day Trade Options. Welcome. Hopefully you find this entertaining and or if not informational, and hopefully it can help you to be a better trader. That is my goal. So first couple trades of the day that were bad. I got into AMD calls. A little bit later, I got into Meta calls and I got into SPX puts. And my timing probably couldn't have been, I may have been able, it probably could have been worse, but it was pretty bad. So I'll show you my meta trade first. I went ahead and marked these out a little bit with some arrows to kind of give you an idea of when I got in. So what I was looking for with Meta is either a pullback to the 612 and a push up, or a push up above 617. And we got the push above 617. Hey Rovo, how you doing? Let me go live. So my initial entry and what I was watching was this level right here. And I wanted to see what price action was going to do around this level. Well, it did give me what I wanted to perfection. This is what I look for every day. It just, this time it didn't work out, and that happens sometimes. But the reason this didn't work out, I will show you in a second. When market opened, price pushed down, stopped right on my LRC mean, pushed straight up, closed pretty strong. So that showed me it was, this was possibly going to be a good upside move. At this point, I got in 6 contracts right here on this right at this candle where it closed, or where it moved over the close of the first candle. At this point, I was actually in not bad profit, not great profit, but I was looking for this to get above the red LRC and continue right on up. Granted, now this is I believe this is my tool multiplier. Let me look real quick. Oops. Get back over here. Yep, 2 multiplier. So this is the way I trade on my main screen during the day. I use the multiplier of 2, but on my grids, I keep them all on 1 so that I'm able to see how the 1 is also affecting price, or how price is reacting to the 1 deviations or the 1 multiplier. So anyhow, I did scale out a couple, not a lot. I only took 2 off on this push above the red. I was really expecting this to get above, hold above red, and continue, and it came back. So since I took 2 off, I held. I decided I was going to make 617 my exit. And so the next candle blasted right through 617, blasted right through the 20 EMA, and so I exited on this next red right here, and I ended up with a loss of on Meta. I ended up with a loss of $210, and the only reason it was 210, I think, is because I scaled out up here. Um, so the reason this trade did not work out was basically because I did not wait for ES and NASDAQ to clear the levels they needed to clear. At the time that I got in Meta, which was right there, right here. When I got in Meta, that was at 932. Well, at 932, we had not cleared the 60-70. Matter of fact, we didn't clear the 60-70 most of the day, and that's why we had a lot of chop during the day. We were above levels. We were above the 50 daily, the 20 daily on NASDAQ. We were above the 50 daily on ES, and NASDAQ kept coming up and getting smacked down throughout the day. And as you can see, every time it would come up, once it got below the 60-40, it just kept coming up to 60-40, getting pushed down, 60-40, push down, 60-40, push down, 60-40, and it just stayed below this, right in this range all day. So not a good day at all. This was when all the trades should have happened, which coincided with, well, it coincided with this, right? So ES finally got over, consolidated, but then went. So at this time, this is what I was looking for. I should have waited today to get into any of my trades before I got into calls or puts, because we had two levels right here and we stayed between them all day. So that was my mistake. I could have exited all up here for a couple $100 profit, but I was really looking for the move, and that's the biggest problem with traders' mentality and emotions. Your emotions and your trading gets in the way of your logic or your actual rules, and they did for me today, because I'm sitting here saying, oh, Meta's going to go anyway, regardless of if we get through these levels. And really, you should never trade that way and never think that way. I should never do that. I do it, of course, but I shouldn't have got into this trade, although it did have the exact setup that I want every time. It was absolutely perfect looking for what would be normally a good trade, but it ended up being a loss for me. Same thing happened with AMD. I got into AMDs because AMD got above the 123 level that I was expecting to be the main move of the day. So it had this massive push. Look at this crazy good push up. So that should have told me that this wasn't going to work. And of course, I didn't recognize this. And this is where you have to be really just mindful of pretty much everything that's going on when you're trading. So one key thing for everyone to consider or to think about is when you see a giant elephant bar, whether it's green or red, doesn't matter. And you get a giant bar like this, if you don't get follow through, if you got in this and you don't get follow through after that huge bar, get out. Because I don't know what the percentage is, it's really high. If you don't get follow through on the next candle as a green candle up, this is going to fail like it did. I did not recognize that live. I did not recognize that while it was happening. What I noticed is we got above 123. So I looked for a pullback because this didn't continue. I got my pullback, which was right here. It came down, stopped, started pushing up. It did close here. this next candle came way down here. Oops. I don't know what happened right there. Let me do my drawing tools again. This candle came way down here, and then the buying pressure pushed it all the way back up. So as soon as it went back above the close of this candle, that's where I entered in my AMD calls. So it went up. I didn't take anything off. I ended up exiting on this next red candle right here for a loss because it just didn't work. Which, that's how you have to trade. Sometimes we're going to have these days where it looks good and you may not recognize things that I should have recognized, and you take losses. The most important thing that I find is you want to take losses that are small so that you can make them back up if you can. Of course, sometimes you're just going to get maybe a bigger loss than you would like, but that was my losses today. Number one thing, I did not recognize or even think about. Massive candle, you have to have follow through next candle. If you don't, do not get in it, or if you got in it, get out of it, because this happens more times than it comes back and goes up. So just be cognizant of that. Didn't recognize it, so that was my mistake. Thought I got a really good retest. It didn't work out. It failed. I exited, and I did make a let me see what my loss was on that. That was my bigger loss, $355 loss, because I got into this one a little heavier. I thought this thing looked great when it was setting up, but that is what it is. I ended up with a loss right there. So, and then I did get into one more loss. I did end up green on the day, but I did get into another loss. It was 3 in a row. And then I got into a really just being more patient and waiting for things to work out. And, and that's probably the moral of my story today and my trading. So SPY, I got into a put right here. Everything was kind of going down, went down, came back up, rejected, came down, and while this was a live trade, this looked excellent. This is what I want to see happen. We didn't go over structure. We failed to go over structure here. Selling pressure came back down, sold it to here. I got my entry right there. Came down, hit the red LRC, shot straight back up, and I exited. Honestly, that was a good trade. I have no qualms about that trade whatsoever. Well, I'd have to say, with the exception of if you go back to ES and NASDAQ and Qs, well, they were doing the same thing. So honestly, not a bad trade. I'm expecting it to go down. My move went below the 60-50. It was a trap. It failed, came down, shot back up. So I'm not going to fault myself for that. That was just a trade that didn't work, and that happens. So anyway, that was the way that one went. Now I did get into it, and that was, what was that loss? That was a $190 loss right here. So then I got into I got into a really good Apple trade right out of the gates. I forgot about this one. This one was an early trade, and I just stayed in it for a long time. This is one of those. Sometimes I hit it backwards, guys. It's like I go heavy on some that I should have went light, and I go light on some that I should have went heavy. But I went. Where is my? Where to go? Okay, I'm just pulling up my Apple trade. My Apple trade started right here. I got in, I can't remember how many puts, but I scaled out on this one push. I held through all of this. I scaled out at 221. And at this point, I only had one left. And I held this one this entire time. And I kept telling everyone the red LRC or I think I even had the one LR, yeah, the yellow or the red was going to be my exit or the 20 EMA. So I was just keeping an eye. And then once it started, just kept hitting the 20 EMA and rejecting, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make it the 20 EMA. If I if I get consecutive closes over the 20 EMA, I will exit. So I ended up just staying in this, and then I finally got all the way down and it hit the yellow LRC. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna exit, guys. I'm tired of staying in it. So I exited my last one, and I ended up with a $305 profit. So it was a decent profit. I really kind of wish I'd went in heavy because, of course, I could have profited a lot more. My best trade of the day, which this is what got me positive on the day, was IWM. And man, what a great trade. My patience kind of helped me out on this, and it's only because I didn't create a newer low. I would have exited if I created a newer low, but I trusted my, I guess I could say I trusted my experience, or I trusted my, I trusted my, structure. So I got in 50 contracts right here. Once this went up, it came down, hit the 200 EMA, pushed up, closed above my 20, the 200. At that point, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for this. This looks really good. At this time, granted, the Nasdaq and ES was not being very friendly. They kept pushing down, so I was expecting IWM small caps to kind of do their own thing. It did. The Nasdaq and ES did push me down, but eventually my plan worked out. So I was in 50 contracts here. This is where I was very close to exiting this trade. Granted, 50 contracts sounds like a lot. It was only 0.55 cents each, guys. So it wasn't like a huge amount. Um, Maybe for some accounts if people have small accounts, but that's I try to trade around anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 um, with every trade. So um, that's right around the area that I normally would trade anyhow. So I got in 50 contracts. I was super close to taking a loss right here because of course it pushed down through the level that I had drawn. It actually was approaching the 200 EMA again. What kept me in the trade, the only thing that kept me in this trade is I did not break structure. Because this candle stopped above this candle's low, and then the next candle started going up, I was like, okay, I'm just going to hang in. I then held this until we got right there, and I scaled off. I don't recall how many. I think I scaled off 20. I held 30, came back, scaled off another 10, scaled off another 10, and I think I was down to, uh, I think another 10. I can't remember, but so I think this was where I took off three. Yeah, I took off three. What anyway? One of these was a 5 or a 3. I took off 5, then I took off another 5 or another 3, and then another 2 to make it an even 50 sold. So my last one that I sold was right there. Now, if I felt like I was in this for quite a while, and I was kind of like, man, this is just it's staying above my level, but I'm not gaining any money. I stayed around the $1,400 from like here all the way to here. It would go down a little, go up a little, go down a little. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to lock away profit. I think I was up to maybe 1,600 or 1,500 or something at this candle, but I ended up with a $1,400 profit exiting right there. So that made my day. It turned my day around. So that was a really, really good and easy trade. Honestly, if you're trading the strategy that I use, there was never a reason to get out, even on this big candle here, which makes most people FOMO out. You didn't get two consecutive reds. It didn't go below. It went right back up green, stayed up. You had another close down, went back up, another close down, went back up. You could have rode this all the way to the green. The green was my target, but it just took too long to get there, so I decided to hop out. And what's up, Nomac? How you doing, buddy? You guys hear me? Oh, cool, cool, cool. You didn't get to do any trading today, did you? Were you working? Yeah. Butterfly, you have a what's up, KN? You have a mic? Where is the video or the link? Oh, it's no mic. Okay, so the video, just click on me right there. Oh, did you find it? Okay. Okay. You can either watch it on YouTube or you can watch it. Oh, yeah, you can go live and watch it live in here as well if you can hear me. Just click on my name and then click watch or click on the live button right there where you see it says live, and then all you have to do is click watch live. Either way, you can watch YouTube. YouTube's going to be delayed for you though, so it might kind of confuse you a little bit. What's up, KN? How you doing? Welcome. So that was a good trade. The IWM was my best trade of the day. I'm glad I got in heavy. Um, I was real close to getting out, but I've really developed a great sense of patience in the last several months with my trading, and it has truly paid off for me. So something that it took me a long time to really gain that and to work on it because I used to just FOMO out all the time. Although that's not bad always. A lot of times I would profit. Um, Sometimes I would profit a lot better just by getting out early. Um, but I did also have a good SPY trade. I didn't stay in this. I didn't catch it early, and I'll tell you what I did here. I just happened to I saw this happening late, and I caught it late, but it was just a quick SPX scalp. I wasn't looking to do a major trade. I made $330 on it, but um, I wanted to see it get over this level. So it did finally closed here. So I entered on this candle. Normally, as you guys know, I look for these pullbacks and a trade here. But when I'm trading SPX, I did not want to trade right back into this level and get smacked back down again. So I made a decision that, once I saw this already going, not, I think I saw it late anyway. I don't know that I would have recognized, I don't think I recognized this early enough to get in with my normal entry anyway. So I did enter right here, and I traded. I scaled out here, and then I exited my last one there. I was in four contracts, so I made a quick 330. Oh my gosh, I should have stayed in this thing. I would have probably made easy 12, $1,300, maybe more on this, depending on how I scaled out, which, as you guys know, I typically scale out as I go, so I don't make as much as I potentially could, but I'm always, securing profit just in case the trades go against me. But this trade was actually a really good, easy trade. I exited because this went red here, and I was like, nope, I'm not giving it back. I'm just taking it. So I got out, and then I was done for the day at that point. There was a lot of setups today that actually it took a while, but once we cleared those levels, once we cleared the 60 70, and the 60/40 of NASDAQ, it was off to the races. And sometimes I get a little bit ahead of myself. If you guys ever, when you're trading with me, I would say, don't always trade what I trade. I know I've been very consistent, but I'm also human and I'm making those mistakes that everyone makes, and if I say, hey, let's move, we need to make sure. I think I need someone with a frying pan or something, or I don't know, rubber band, something smacking me. Frying pan may be a little aggressive, but something to stop me from getting into a trade, because I would literally tell everybody and myself, as I'm going over the morning, yeah, we need to be above this level. And what do? I get in before we get above that level. So that's just part of trading, I guess. Although my day worked out for me, honestly, you know, sometimes it's better that it doesn't work out for you, because then hopefully you can learn from it, you know. So I was able to turn my day around with good trades. And so far I've been very, very lucky in that the days that I have losses, I've been able to turn them around and have green days. So, and it's really just trading this strategy. I noticed, Butterfly, I noticed that you were saying that you're using the TTM LRC. How is that actually working for you? I wish you had a mic because I'd like to talk to you about it. I saw that you were using it. It's kind of funny that when you had mentioned that, I had never even seen that before, but it's an actual indicator, guys, that's built into Schwab. I think this must be new with Charles Schwab. I could be wrong, but I've looked up TTM and stuff many times. I've never seen TTM LRC until he mentioned it today. And basically, it just gives you this. I'm not real sure how you use it to trade. I'll have to look more into it and get some information about it. But it's interesting. So for you guys that are watching, Butterfly says that he's using the Anchored LRC in conjunction with the TTM LRC, and he's like, it's money. So I, I'm all about learning and finding new things that can improve the strategy for sure. So I'll keep an eye on that and see how that works out. I'll have to put that on my trading charts and just kind of see how you're using it or how it is being used. Um, so anyway, couple things I wanted to point out. There was some news today that came out from the new administration, and that they are actually developing or starting a whole new AI company, um, or an AI. I don't know if it's a company or they're subsidizing it or what, but I know when I was reading the article, I'll have to go find the article. But as I was reading the article, they said that it was going to affect OpenAI, which is, I think that is C3 AI, which is just AI as a indicator. Yeah, it must look what it did. That's probably it's. They said that they're going to be a big benefactor of it, as well as Oracle. Those were the two that stood out to me. So yeah, look, after hours, Oracle's going up. Now I do have a level on Oracle, but what a move. I mean, that's an 8 point move today. So I will be looking at Oracle tomorrow. I don't, honestly don't. Oh wow, it must have. I wonder if the news was here. It may have been there. That's a pretty significant move today. Wow, that's almost a 20 point move. So hopefully that's not already done, but it's like a $500 billion investment into this new AI um, servers. It's yeah, I don't know. I don't know how far it's going to go, but and I shouldn't say I don't care. It doesn't really matter to me as long as we're able to trade and use it to make money. So, um, anyway, I had no idea that was happening. I read this after hours, so it must have already happened. Oracle, AI, there's probably other AI companies that it's affecting. So no, AI didn't. This AI didn't do it. So anyway, maybe is there a company called OpenAI? Do you know about that? No, Mac? No, I don't see it. I know you're usually up to snuff on that stuff. Oh, I'm still in an Amazon swing trade. I've been in it for about a week and I am up 59% as of today. So I'm up really good. I was in 12 contracts. I was up, I think I was in around almost $7,000 worth, but I bought it way back when it was down here. So excellent trade, worked out. I used the long LRC to get in the trade. That's what I used to make my decision to get in the trade. Let me go to that real quick. So I will be doing more of these in the future for sure. So this was my long LRC. It hit right here last Monday, I think. Monday, Sunday, it actually pushed up off of the long LRC, came back, went back down to it, and I think if I remember correctly, I got in on Monday. Yes. Oh yeah, I actually got in right here on this next push right there. This is when I bought my swing trade. And my objective, my exit was 216. That was my ultimate exit. So the sad part was when I got to right here, I thought I was going to have to exit this. So I was like, man, this is going to be a pretty significant loss. So much for my attempt. It came down a little bit, got back up above. Once this pushed up above 219 the next day, I was like, okay, I'm good. This thing is riding the long LRC, and look at this. It's just absolutely perfection. Came all the way back down. It hit, started going back up. So I had no issue, stayed in the trade. I did take profit here, though. This is where I took 6 off. I took another 3 off here, and I'm still holding 3 up to here. My targets was this line, and that line, and I've hit all 3. So I'm just going to hold this and see if I get the next move up. If it starts coming back down, I'll just take profit and move on. But a really good swing trade for me. That's I've got in swing trades before, but I haven't, I haven't. I'm not really like looking to set up for swing trades as much. Now I'm going to start doing swing trades more based off of using the long LRC. Whenever I get moves that come down and hit the certain pivot points, if I see those starting to flip and turn and go up, that's going to be my entry. And I'm just going to hold as long as I stay either above the long LRC or a major support and resistance level that I decide is, the important level. Hello, Gracie. How are you? Hope you are well this evening. Do you have a mic? Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, Butterfly told me I shouldn't increase my risk in my swing trades. Yeah, I didn't actually. Oh, you mean increase it more than what my what I normally trade. Yeah, I get that. I was actually, my whole point in that is I've been very successful these last many, well, this almost an entire year now. I've legitimately put away quite, and I'm not bragging. I've just I'm doing really well with this strategy. Um, and so I have that to risk. And I wanted to put a little bit more up. I kind of wussed out of it though, because I did take profit really early where I should have held it longer, and I'll probably have about a $3,000 profit when I'm finished. But um, or actually maybe a little bit more than three. I'll let you know what the total is, or maybe, but I had the money to risk, so that wasn't a real big issue to me. Um, but I know what you're saying. Um, but I think as traders, you have to start upping and scaling up, and if you're able to profit, of course, this is new to me as far as the swing trading, but I've been able to, you know, build my account quite a bit over the last year. So risking 6 or 7 thousand wasn't a ton. I don't want to come off as arrogant or anything. That is not me. It's just a fact. I've been able to make a good amount of money over the last year. So it's deciding to risk that much wasn't that big of a deal, but it's not really risking. Think about, the 5,000. I would have had to dump, a ton to lose all the money. So I I would have bailed before I lost, that much money. Um, but anyway, oh, cool, cool. I'm sorry, I'm just reading what Butterfly is typing. So anyhow, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. If you want me to take a look at something, I can look at it. If you have questions about the strategy that I use or a strategy or what that you're using, feel free to chime in, ask. Oh, I do. Hello, Gracie. Oh, no, 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 no. I was just asking if you guys had any questions or would like to discuss any trades you took today, or this strategy that I use, or even a strategy that you use. Um, I did not go over all the levels. No, no. I just was showing that when I was trading the Amazon, so I did an Amazon swing trade, and I'm still in it. It's for February, I think 7th is the expiration, and I got into it last week, and it's actually working out really well. And the reason I got into it was because of my long LRC. And I'm sorry, when Amazon came down and hit the 216 and rejected right here where the long LRC is. Are you able to see the live screen, Gracie? Okay, so I took my trade actually right in here when this came back down and hit this during the day and started going up. That's when I took my swing trade. Well, my exit was 216, or my stop loss, and I thought I was going to have to right towards the end of the day, but luckily it held up above, got back above the long LRC, and I did scale out six. I was in 12. I scaled out six here, held it through this because it came back down to the long LRC, rejected. I took six, or no, I took where did I take three off? I think I took three off here, and I'm holding three. And I had this was target one, target two, target three, and I've hit all three targets. So it's really good. It's an excellent trade. I'm just holding three now. I'm gonna see if I can get more out of it. If it starts to come back down and reject this 231 level, then I will, I'll just exit the trade. I think I'm up around 3,000 right now, so it's a really good trade. 12, and they were pretty expensive. They were, I think they were 550 each. So yeah, they were. It was here. I can actually tell you. I can pull it up. Oh, I'm sorry. Average price was so it was even more. 745 each was my average. So yeah, yeah. Next month is February 7th expiration, and there were 225 strikes. So that this one has worked out really well, and I basically took it based on the long LRC. I've been looking at this for a while. Me and Nomac have talked a good amount about it and just how good it really is to use for swing trading. Um, and just like anything else, any type of trading strategy can fail or not work. But if you are able to if you draw in your long LRC, and you happen to if you notice that it's hitting, let's just say, the blue line, every time it comes to the blue line it's rejecting and going up. If you notice that, because there's a lot of times when you draw these in, you'll see it's a very, very specific pattern. It moves sideways, it'll go up, kind of go sideways all the way back to the blue, go up, sideways back to the blue, go up. And this one, I just saw it reject right here at the 216, and that's why I got in. And so anyway, it just worked out really well. My exit was going to be, I didn't get in as early as I should have. Honestly, it happened, and then I realized it happened. So I was like, you know what? I still like this because I saw it come down and hit it here. So that's when I got in. So I got in a little heavy on my risk because I was a good ways away from my stop loss. But it worked out really well. I mean, granted, oh, I talk about my long all the time. If it's in yep, in the use think script form, I have it in there, and you can find, if you search for, I think I have it as L-LRC. I'll put a link. I'll put a link in here in a minute. I'll find it and put a link. I have a setup on how to set it up, and I can show you real quick. It's actually quite simple. Um, and I'll just do that. That way everyone can see it as well. Let me create a new drawing set, and I'll just label it one. Okay, get rid of everything. So all I do is I just use the linear regression, this tool right here, and I'll just go and find specific areas that I think, like, what I will what I'll key in on, and I usually start with the 1 hour, and I key in on, on dips. Okay. And so I will just start around there, and then I'll just drag it to the end, and then I will analyze it. And then I just grab this node, and I will just drag and drag and drag until you have it to where it starts aligning with key pivot points. And I'm not going to go through like refining this one, but I will get into the nitty gritty and try to get it as refined as possible. So like, see how these aren't hitting, they're kind of going through. You can move it to where you get a really clean look, and you can see that each time it hits, it matters. It'll consolidate, push off, come back down, consolidate, break back through, and you'll start realizing it's extremely, extremely good. And so I typically, when I first made this, it was I wasn't really considering. I was drawing them to to see if it could be used for swing trading because I had several people asking me like, "Hey, can you use this swing trading? Can you, And I was like, "Well, maybe, if I drew a longer one, we could." So I drew it, and what was funny is I had this on several of my charts, and I didn't take it off. And when I was trading during the day, I happened to notice like the importance of trading. I don't know if I'll see it set up here, but many times, well, like for instance, this one looks really bad, but to give you an example, I would like when I'm on a 2 minute chart, we'd see this come down, hit this and start rejecting. And I always call out, like when we're trading live, I just let everyone know, hey, it's approaching a long LRC. Be prepared. It could either go through it like this one did and retested. Like this is a perfect example. Or this could push back up and just completely go the other way. So be careful because you might be at the complete end of the channel of your pivot for that day. Um, or for that week for that matter. I mean, it could have hit here and goes to the next channel. So I found that it was extremely important during my intraday trading as well. So I leave it on every single one of my charts has it. Any stock that I'm trading, I go in and I spend the time to put in the anchored LRC, I'm sorry, the long LRCs because I'm sorry. Oh yeah, yeah, yep. I was actually just about to do that. And these are the settings, Gracie, if you want to know how I have it set. You can screenshot it, or I can also put it in the I can copy it and put it in the Discord for you too, if that will help you. Oh, that's okay. I will put it in the chat. So it's in there now. You can click on that anytime you want and just set your all you have to do is go into your settings, you hit add curve, and then it allows you to add a new coefficient. And then you color it however you want, and then make sure you hit save as default because if you don't, it'll just revert back to the actual standard or the default, the factory default. So make sure you save it, and then that's it. And then you can go in, change it, move it. You can literally just trade off of that if you wanted to. You don't have to do super long. You could go into like a 30-minute chart, and starting with like maybe the day before, I've noticed that you can be pretty pretty good with if you just say you just came over here, put in a well, that one's not going to work for us because it's not far enough back, but let me put in another one from here up. You could actually use this just to give you pivots throughout the day. So it's a very, very, very powerful tool. It's crazy how the algos or the market makers, they trade to these lines. So I know this looks like, oh, well, it's only there because this has already happened. No, if you leave this long term, that's the other good thing about the long LRC or the linear regression channel. If you just leave it there, you don't have to keep changing it unless you get a pivot change. Say like, for instance, if all of a sudden you start getting a downtrend and then you break through the bottom here, well, then it's time to start it over from here going down. Or you can spread it out wider, but I find it's better to just change your pivot or change your direction, your trend. But what's interesting is once it's in, it will respect these lines so much it'll blow your mind. You'll notice like if this comes down, it'll come back, hit this line, go up, come back down, hit this line, go up. It's incredible. I've been looking at it for months and it still amazes me how accurate it is. Um, do you have any other questions or anyone else? Oh, no, I had asked you earlier about the uh, oh, OpenAI, if that was an actual a different ticker, but I think OpenAI is AI, and it and Oracle went off today. Look at that. That there was some information about the um, Trump administration starting a new thing called the Stargate, and they're going to put like $500 billion into a giant AI. I'm just gonna say system for the lack of a better term. It just came out, like I think right before after hour. It could have came out here. And when I was looking at the article that I was reading, it had said something about Oracle, OpenAI. They're going to be pretty major benefactors. So I was like, okay, we need to focus on those in the next couple of days because these things could fly. Well, this one already flew 20 points, almost 20, real close to it. So um, could be something just to keep an eye on. You know, maybe we can get some really good moves. That was all, no Mac. I was just asking if you had if you knew if OpenAI was AI. And I think it is, but it just comes up odd. It's C3 AI Inc. Incorporated, but I think that's OpenAI. I may be wrong. I'll do some research and see just so I have the right one.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not sure. I've heard of C3 AI. I just don't know if that's actually OpenAI.
Yeah, me either. So I'll do some research and see because that could be really important. I'll be looking to trade those tomorrow for sure because that kind of news, I mean, it could be a fake out and you could get trapped, but man, it could also be absolutely parabolic. You could get a massively, really highly profitable trade in a matter of, in a short period of time. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I hear you. Yes. Find the tickers. Um, Oh, I just have a select group that I trade every day, and it's my main tickers are. I do change them out occasionally, but my main tickers are these on my grid. So I'm always watching these. I don't know why this is flashing all over, but I'm always watching these. It's pretty much your most liquid stocks. Um, but I also go to my my second grid, which is these are my I'm gonna just say my alternates, but I also trade them as well. And now on this on my alternate um, grid chart or monitor, I will go in sometimes during the day and say, oh, okay, Oracle is one I want to keep an eye on, so I'll just go in and I'll change it to Oracle so that that day I can just kind of keep an eye on what's happening with it during the day. So I usually have 24 charts running or that I can look at all times. And what you see is exactly how I see it during the day. I will just sit and watch and I can see price action coming down, pushing up. Of course, I'll be a little more zoomed in when it's happening on them. So you'll be able to see it. Um, oh, wow. RGTI is taking off now too. Interesting. Um, RGTI is one that we've been trading lately. It has been a pretty good moving stock. You get really good price action on it. PLTR we've traded. Pretty much all of these we trade, but I trade the main ones typically. What I'm calling the main ones, the ones on my main grid, Gracie. But as far as other stocks, sometimes people in the Discord and when we're in, they'll call out things that they've seen some news on. Um, we have a couple members that just are fantastic at. They do a lot of research in the mornings, and they'll come in and go, "Hey, I'm watching this, this, and this," and I'll take a look at it as well. And there's many times when I'm trading what they found, and it's awesome. So um, it's kind of a conglomeration, right? You may hear some news, so I'll change and take a look at something. But for the most part, I focus on the ones that you see on the charts that I have. And you can get, I think these have changed since I've provided it, but in the Use Think Script forum, I shared my grids, and they should come over with what my original set was. And the alternate one is the one that's probably changed, but my main grid has stayed the same. Okay. Yep, yep. And we just trade different things depending on news. Sometimes, we'll get some stocks that just tend to go dead. They get caught in a channel. They're not that good. So I keep them on my chart, but I'm not interested in trading them until they absolutely, which here's a great example of that, until they absolutely um, go beyond a certain level. So I would say probably a month maybe or more, IWM has been in this awful channel. Could you trade it in that channel? Absolutely. But the problem is you just never knew when it was going to get knocked down, back up. If you zoom out and go on a higher time frame, 227, 227.50 was the level that I wanted it to get over. Well, that was the whole reason for my big trade today. Is it finally got over, held over, it failed it, got back over, failed it again, got back over, failed it again, and then went back up again, and that's when I bought right here. Oh no, I'm sorry, I bought right here. I held it through this second push, but this was uh, this was a really good trade. It wasn't the cleanest trade, but the upside on this was phenomenal. 231 was my first target level, and then after that, gosh, I think it's way. I don't even know where it is. I'll have to go back and look. I may have erased it, but this one had a lot of room to trade. What's up, Alex? Or D Alex? You guys have any questions about the strategy or anything related to it? Let me see what I didn't look at that today. Good, man. How you doing? Very, very cool. Do you have any questions or anything? Anything you would like to add?
I presented your strategy to a different group, and they asked me to trade future. I told them we only do options, but I don't see any issue in using it.
Oh no, it's fantastic for futures. There's a couple guys that are in the Discord. One specifically, he trades futures pretty much only, and he does quite well with it, trading futures. So
I haven't really started trading yet this particular strategy, but it's on my screen every day. So
yeah, I mean, if you the thing is it's kind of like everything else, right? If you're trading the levels, futures is going to work too. The only issue for futures is your risk is much greater, right? Especially if you're trading in Q. Um, like if you're trading ES, you have a little bit of a reprieve, but it's still, a higher risk, but you get incredible reward if you get in off these levels. This is ES that I'm looking at right now. Um,
Right. Right.
yeah, so no, it honestly, it's there's no reason why you couldn't trade really anything with it. It just depends on your strategy. Like, are you looking to scalp? Are you looking to, um, I mean, because this is kind of, this strategy is really, I wouldn't say it's scalping. It's more of an intraday, and I'll try to trade the entire trend if I can, using I'll try to get to the top if I can during the day. I don't always. Usually by the time, usually by like 10:40, we're all done and already met our quotas, because we're able to just catch those, good moves early morning, and that's it. Especially Knight, he's the guy that trades futures. He's usually like done and like really quick. So, and he doesn't only trade the LRC strategy. I think he has um, a couple other either indicators or um, ideas that he uses. I think in conjunction with it, but I know that he does really well with it as far as just what he's discussed and what he said. So um, I don't, like I said, I don't see any problem trading pretty much anything with it. I guess with anything, you want some volume, right? You want the stocks to move, but I mean, that's really any stock. Now, unless you're going to do like a swing trade, you don't, you can just let it go, and you're not having to sit there and watch, watch the paint dry, so to speak. But um, anything that you have volume, you should be just fine. And you said you haven't actually tried it yet?
I'm not trading it.
Y-
The LRC.
right.
To start, I have some set horizontal levels, and I would say most of the time, I don't know what percentage, 75%, 80%, whatever. There's a good complement there, the LRC and those levels, and I'm trying to get better at reading both of those, and hopefully, kind of go into LRC. Let's say it hits a certain level at one point, just follow the LRC, stay with the 20 EMA to the next LRC level,
Yeah.
instead of my own level, which may be a little bit too close to my initial entry. So right now, I'm trying to learn more about it a little
Right.
bit more.
Right. I think one thing I can add that I've just over time that I've, just been using it. One great thing that I think where it may help you the most for, or two areas it will help you really well with futures trading. One is target levels, because if you are able to get in multiples, the target levels are incredible to be able to use them as, okay, hey, I'm going to trade from the yellow to the red. If I get to the red, I'll scale out. If it gets above the red, now the red's my stop out. If I get back below the red, I'm out. If it holds the red, then I'm trading to the cyan. And then if it gets to cyan, I'm trading to the next red. And that's how I've actually been using it lately also with options. But it works really well for futures because it kind of just gives you that guide and an area you don't have to think. You okay, I've made it, I'm scaling out. You lock away profit and then you just keep right on grinding. The other area that this is very key, or I've just seen it used so much. There's another gentleman that trades the pullbacks to the LRC levels so well. It's crazy. He's always calling out in the Discord. Yep, hey, I'm in this one. Look at that. And sure enough, we'll watch. I don't know if I have a great example here, but it would be something like this during the day. It goes above an LRC level, comes back, pivots, and at that point, the 20 EMA, the LRC is right there with it, and you get the green and the green, and he gets in and gets this entire move. Um, and he just watches that uh, all the time. It's like I guess something he's gravitated to. Um, just
That's kind of what I'm trying.
yeah, it's really simple. Of course, you have to be a little more patient, right? You have to have some price action. You have to have some movement above or outside of the range. Maybe when it comes back into the range, you can capture the pullback move. But that happens daily on pretty much when we're watching the grid, you can actually see it happening, of course, live, real time. And you're like, oh, okay, here it comes. If it rejects this LRC, I'm getting in. And, and that's what we do. And it's pretty simple. And the great part is our exit's right there too. And that's one of I think the biggest um, benefits to this trading strategy for me is it's helped me to be better at my risk management. My risk out instead of trying to hold like big levels way away and giving back too much. My risk is right there, and what I've found it is if it doesn't go, it doesn't go. That's it. Don't worry about it. Get out, take your little loss, and move on. But if you get the move, well, now you've had another good profit, on that trade. And most of the time, that's what's happening. Not every time. I had three losses today. I don't know if you saw that part of the initial video, but those were all because I got impatient. I didn't wait for levels to be cleared, um, and that was that was just me being I guess a human. I got ahead of myself. I needed ES to get over 60/70, and it didn't. And I got in those trades, and it got smacked down every time. And then I needed that Nasdaq to get over 60/40 once it got below it. So it failed. It went above, failed it, came all the way down below 60/50, or I'm sorry, 560. It came up and hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it. Kept just getting smacked down. Had a little trap action, trap action. I'd actually drawn this in, saying I needed to be above this for there to be continuation, and that's actually when it all happened right there. That was the best move of the day. I didn't get all of it, but I got some of it with an SPX trade.
Well, I think I have some screenshots of today's action, LRC, those levels, so I may just post them chat, tag over there.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. If you have questions, always.
Searching the trash again.
Yeah, yeah, no worries, man. If you need anything, I try to help everyone that I can. So if you have any questions or want to try to work on a system that will help your type of strategy, just send it over. I'll do what I can do to help if I can.
Set levels, they never change, they're always the same, especially for NASDAQ. But right now, set is based on his previous levels. So in 2017, NASDAQ was in the 6,000, where ES is currently. So I'm trying to use those old NQ levels to see if they work on ES today in the 6,000s. So that it,
I've
it
read
will
it.
be
I don't think. I think it's only for Nasdaq.
right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that works on the ES. I've tried it.
Um, I'm talking about the old ones from 2017.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have the PDF and the videos for that.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Tony Rago.
to combine
Okay.
TSLA levels with LRC.
Oh, cool. Well, I know the butterfly, a butterfly that was in. He's actually said he just started using the Anchored LRC. Well, I shouldn't say just started. He's using the Anchored LRC along with TOS's their built-in TTM LRC, and he said it seems to be perfect together. So I think he's having success with that. I don't know. I was looking at it earlier. I didn't even know that TOS had a TTM LRC until he posted that. So I'll have to look and see how that works because I'm always looking to try to improve and add to the strategy if it's viable. Honestly, for the most part, I think price action is the most important thing. The anchored LRC, the support resistance levels matter, of course, but you really just have to trade price action and then risk management. Make sure you don't sit there and trade like some people or like we all do. I think everybody does it as traders. You get into a trade and you get into a loss, and then you're like, no, I'm gonna just keep holding this because man, if it just turns around, I'll be in a profit. And you're too afraid to take that loss. But if you just take that loss and move on with a small loss, you can make that loss back up easy. But if you keep holding and keep holding, you end up with a bigger loss. And then the next time you end up with a bigger loss. And then the next time, and then you just keep going backwards. And so I think a lot of people have been in the, has a lot of people went down that rabbit hole. I know I have. I know I've dealt with those emotions, that part of trading. Um, and once I discovered the anchored LRC strategy, it just kind of it honestly is kind of weird, but it opened my eyes. After several years of trading, it's just like it all kind of I don't know, it all kind of hit me, and I was just like, wow, I can see the forest and the trees, I was like, all this time I've been just like, uh, I I don't know, stressed while I was trading, so concerned, and now I'm just very, I've got to a point in my trading that I'm just calm, and I know when I take trades, sometimes I take, I FOMO just like anyone else, but I've really reduced the amount of times that I do that. I trade much more calmly. Like if I get into a trade and it goes over my levels, I just exit and I take my loss and I move on. And you just have to accept that, right? But yeah, I think where people really go the wrong way is they have a hard time accepting that and then looking for new setups. They just keep, try to hold too long. They take too big of a loss, then they get too far behind, then they revenge trade, and then they overtrade to where they just blow their account up. So then the next day they make back a little bit of what they lost the day before and rinse and repeat, you know. And I think a lot of people have been in that situation. I know I have. And I've tried every single strategy that you could possibly imagine. It's like that whole use think script forum. I guarantee you, I've probably traded everything on that forum. For the most part, I've tried it. And until I found this, I was up and down, up and down, up and down. I'd have good days, bad days, good days, bad days, good days, bad days, just constantly, trying to get a consistency. And now that I've started trading, or since I've been trading the anchored LRC with with the 20, the 200, of course, using the major levels, I've been way more consistent than I ever thought I could. I honestly never ever thought that I could be this consistent day after day after day. So it's actually been kind of, uh, yeah, I would say a lot surprising to me over time, and even just thinking back since I've started doing this, how successful I have actually been. It's pretty incredible. Um, and like I said, I never expected to be um, that consistent or that successful. And I, I don't, I have losses. during the days, but it's just being green at the end of the days. That's the thing that makes the difference for me now. I used to be red, several days um, in a row, or sometimes weeks in a row, and trying to manage my risk, or manage my capital as much as possible. But this strategy really has changed that direction for me, and I'm hoping that it does the same for other people. I mean, it makes things very simple, but you do have to have a grasp of price action, support resistance levels. They're not that difficult, to draw. I will put out a video. I've been asked several times to put out a video lately to how I draw them, and I'm gonna put out as extensive but to the point as I can, so that everyone can just, hopefully it'll help them grasp how to do it. But it really isn't that difficult. I'm no guru at all. I don't pretend to be. It's just not. It's honestly not that difficult. And sometimes I'll get the wrong levels, and that is what it is. That's going to happen. Sometimes stocks just don't care about the levels that I choose. Yeah, I kind of feel the same, butterfly. It's funny because finding this strategy was quite a I don't know. It was an interesting find. It was accidental, and the first week that I decided to trade it, I um I was like, wow, because when I first discovered it, it just kind of blew me away how the price was respecting the line so much. So then I was like, okay, I'll give this a shot. I got rid of all my indicators, all the garbage I'd been using, and I started to trade it. And that whole week I was green every day that week. And I was like, wow. And it was easy. But my losses, I went back and back tested them. So to give you a really quick background, when I went back and back tested this strategy, I tried all kinds of things, MACDs, all those same indicators that I'd use, MACDs, RSIs, you name it, all stochastics, all of them. I kept putting in all lower indicators, trying to see if I could find something that would have stopped me from taking the trades that I had losses with. And I've traded the 20 and the 200 before. Um, and so I was like, oh, let me just start trying some MAs. So I put in MAs. I put up the 20 MA, and I noticed, I was like, okay, the 20 MA is pretty. I need to really use this for my trend. But the 200 EMA, I happened to notice that every time I traded into the 200 is when I had all but maybe a couple that week of my losses, I traded into the 200 EMA. So I was like, okay, well, that settles that. I'm just going to not trade into the 200 EMA anymore. But then as time went on, I realized that, like, if I had a really big gap, and meaning the 200 and the 20 was far apart, that I could trade back up to it, and get some really good trades, but only if there's a wide gap. The only downside to that is that's very subjective. What's a wide gap? Some stocks, what may look to be wide, may not be a wide enough gap for it to be worth trading. So that's a risk you have to take. And if you want to try it, you try it. Um, and if it starts to go against you, get out. Like this right here, you could have been like, oh, I'm getting in here because it's going to go back to the 200. Well, it failed and shot straight down. But um, there is a point where I do lose out on a lot of trades, or there's many days that I lose out on really good trades because I don't want to trade from the up to the 200. I want to trade with the 200 if possible. So to me, and by using my grids, I find that I can almost always find. So why risk something that may not work when I can find something that's actually going down and through both? So it gives me a higher probability of profiting on that trade. So but I have done it, and I've regretted it because I tried to trade into it when it gets me failed, and I have traded into it. I think it was a couple last week. I had a trade that went all the way up to the 200 and I exited at the 200. And it was actually a really good trade. So I have done it. I just typically don't like to. I kind of get uh, that negative feeling like I shouldn't be trading into the 200. But I think ultimately trying to keep things simple is really the most important thing. Risk management, very important. Make sure you just, you know your stop before you get in. Make sure you know what you're doing with your trade before you get in your trade. And then if you're getting in the trade, get in the trade, right? That's it. You're getting in. If it doesn't work out, don't feel bad about it. You can definitely look at it and say, "Hey, oh, these are the mistakes I made," and grow from them and get better. But just like today with me on the trades I took, um, man, my trades looked great. Other than a couple things I missed. I don't know if all of you guys saw this from my earlier part of the video, but I'll go over it real quick. So this was AMD. I wanted AMD above 123. It blasted above everything. Look at that candle. That was insane. It didn't dawn on me. I didn't even think about it. Whenever you guys see a giant or just a big elephant candle, do something similar to this. It doesn't have to be this big. This was massive. Is and you don't get a green on the next candle up, do get out of that trade if you got in it, because this is most likely what's going to happen. I didn't recognize that. I didn't see it. All I was focused on was, oh, okay, I got over 123. I didn't even focus on what took place. I just focused on, hey, I got over 123. I'm watching for a pullback. I got this pullback. It came back up and held above, pushed down, came back, held, it went all the way up, held above. I entered my trade right here. It started to move above my green close like I always do. Once again, kind of gave me confirmation here, came all the way down, pushed up, went above this. I got in and I exited right here on this candle because it failed. And so, I took a small loss, but I didn't hold this thing this whole way and take this huge loss. Um, and I think that's the key to being successful, or it is for me. Of course, everybody has different techniques, different rule sets, different EMAs, you name it. You can run ATR trailing stops. Those are pretty awesome. They work very well. Um, there's so many things out there that you can use as your own, rule set, but you have to have a set of rules and stick to them. That's the key. Um, and of course, if they're working out and you have now I've had enough experience and time in my rule set that I can fully trust them, and I do. And that's why I try to share this with people too, because the 20 EMA on the 2 minute time frame is absolutely amazing. If you just watch how, and you can trade every time, every one of these pullbacks. Um, yeah, I mean, it depends on your type of how much you're willing to risk. But for me, if I get a long ways away from the 20 EMA, I will exit on two red candles in a row and then wait to see if I get a pullback, and then I then re-enter. And then if it gets two red candles below again, I'll exit or I just hold on. It just depends. Now if I'm pushing up to a major level, I will exit. Usually I'll take all profit, maybe leave one runner or something at the major level. When I say major level, it's my support resistance I draw in. And then if I get above, then good, and I'll just hold on to it. But most of the time, it's going to get to it. It's going to reject it. Once if you do get a break and a retest, that's when you get back in. Like this would have been a perfect time to get back in right here on this candle. Um, That's if you're just trying to scalp a decent move. And for you, Alex, futures, that's absolutely perfect, man. If you get a trendy day, you could bank all day long on futures if you just stay patient and watch for the pullbacks, get in, get out at the top, get back in at the pullbacks. I mean, you could literally kill it on futures by just using the 20 EMA. You don't even have to use anything else. You could just follow the 20 EMA the entire day. Pullbacks, you run it up, you exit on the second red, get back in. You'd have to exit here. This one may not be a profit. Wait for a move back above, get in here, exit, pull back, get in, exit, get back in here, exit. I mean, you could literally do it all day and use that 20 EMA as a very tight, very tight stop. Will you take losses sometimes? Sure. Yeah, I mean, like right here, you may get this and this thing goes straight down. But that's with any strategy. We don't always know what's going to happen. It's best to take your, like this off of the major level, right? 521, pull back, enter, off to the races. But so there's a lot of different ways that, people that you can trade. You don't, the Anchored LRC for me has been key, but you can really create any type of trading strategy. I think if you keep it simple. For me, I'm not a big indicator person. I've tried them all, and I think I've lost. I went through times where I had good gains and strategies would work, but then it started to get that same strategy or that same indicator. I would start losing more times than I was winning, and it's because those strategies can't look at the price action. They don't look at the support and resistance levels. And so a lot of times you'd be getting an indicator to get in right here. And you're like, you get in, then next thing you know, you get slapped. So I've basically got away from all indicators. I don't use them. I do use higher time frames, though. I do use 5 minute, 15 minute to give me more confirmation of, bigger moves, or I like to see the price action on the 5 minute. I think it tells a lot, and I think majority of people trade the 5 minute, so that's a bigger reason to use the 5 minute as somewhat of a guide to help to maybe stay in a trade, or even to help to get in a trade. But what's up, Omni? How you doing?
Doing good, Metal.
How you doing, man? How'd you do today?
Uh,
You didn't take those same losses with me, did you? Oh, good, 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 good. I ended up turning it into a green day again, but yeah, my first three trades, I should have waited. Should have waited for the 60-70 break, or the 60-40 break. But at least I got out early. Did you get the IWM trade?
I did not.
Oh, that one was gorgeous. That was gorgeous. How about the Apple? Did you get in that one?
I did a little bit. Thought
Oh, good, good. Yeah, the Apple trade was. I didn't get in heavy in that. I did make 300, and what did I make on that trade? Three. I can never remember, man. I made 305 overall.
solid,
Yeah.
solid.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It wasn't a bad trade. It's just, hindsight. I look at those and I'm like, man, I should have got in heavy on that one. But
That's fine.
yeah. Oh gosh, we'd all be millionaires if we could trade hindsight.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I appreciate your time.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. If you have questions, I see you. I know you don't get to talk much, so if you have any questions or anything, feel free, man.
Yeah, absolutely will. Thank you.
Oh yeah. Does anyone else want to look at anything? Want to look at any stocks? I think Butterfly just said that Oracle popped again, so let's see. It's yes, it did. Look at that. That's crazy, guys. I have 86 and 88. 186 and 188. It's already up to my 186 level. Well, it may just run pre after hours. Yeah, it could have been. It could have been. Oh, and I do just FYI, I use my fibs all the time when trading, guys. So I think the fibs are absolutely um, necessary when you're trading. You get something, now this one wouldn't have worked out, but you get a, well, on a higher time frame it probably would have worked out. But during the day, if you get a pretty decent move and you start getting a pullback, draw in your fibs. And then that will kind of give you a guide. If you start seeing it hold up in this zone, of course, this one didn't work out because it went straight sideways through that zone the whole day. But that's exactly how I use it. I'll look for it to pull back. I'll then see if it's coming back off of an LRC level or the 20 EMA. And if I start getting candle green over green, I just get right back in and trade right back up off the 50% retracement. But it's this entire zone. I actually prefer the 38.2 pullback. That's I prefer that, and there's a good reason for that. We put it in our Discord. I searched for it. There is a higher statistic, and I think it's somewhere around 80. I'm gonna blunder this, but I think it's like 80, 50, and then 30 or 20. So 80%, I could be off, but you have a much higher percentage at 38.2% retracement. You have a 80% chance if it comes down to 38.2 and rejects of making a new high of day. So this will, if this comes back to the 38.2 and starts to reject, that's a good time to get in because you have an 80% chance of getting this entire move above to make a new higher day. If you come back to 50%, you have only, I think it's close to 50 or, man, I can't remember it. I need to go look that up. But anyway, I'll post it for you guys. I have a whole printout that shows the percentage, but I think it's like around 50% at 50. And then once you get all the way down to 61.8, you only have like a 30% chance of making a new high of day. That's pretty important. If you follow that guide, look at this. It came down past the 50. It did not get a new high of day. And you can go back and see that. So like if you're in a trade and you're looking to get more upside, but you pull back beyond the 50% down to the 61.8, I wouldn't be looking to get, you may get it. You may be that lucky 30% that gets it, but for the most part, statistics don't, they don't, they give you your probabilities, right? So I would just be really careful if you are trading it. Like this may be like a 38.2. Look at this. Yeah, there you go. See, that's absolute. This gives you an idea of what I'm talking about. If you get a move up and then this starts pulling back, if you draw your fibs, this comes down to 38.2 and starts rejecting, there's your entry right there. It absolute, you're going to get a new high a day or a new high over that, a new higher high. And this is probably right at this one may have been like a 50. Let's see what this one is. We'll kind of step through this real quick. It's actually pretty incredible. So this one stopped at the 50. It went below it a little bit, still made a high a day. Actually a pretty good move above. This one came back below, also made a higher. So this one actually, the 61.8 actually pushed higher and higher the whole day on this one. But a lot of times it's just something to think about. Your statistics, or statistically, you're not going to move higher more times than not if you get below this, or if you get down to the 61.8% retracement. Um, so anyhow, just wanted to point that out. I do use fibs throughout the day as well. But thank you, Gracie. That was nice. You guys have any? Yeah, man. Yeah, I have. I don't really go in and put a specific number, but you remember how you and I had looked at before the percentage of move? When we remember how I was, we were doing the percentage of move. I have looked at, like, if I see a stock that is well, like this is a great example right here, stair stepping. I'll just go in and look and say, okay, this is going up like 0.79%. So then I'll look to see, okay, will I get another 0.79%, zero point 0.6? So I do kind of go in and see if I'm going to get a similar uh, percentage move up on each pullback or stair step. But as far as like, I don't know if you're talking about more of like an indicator type thing, or are you talking about just visually? Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I have, and I do. Is it something that I like really laser focus on? Not so much, but I do try to give myself, especially when I'm trading like SPX, I will give myself like, okay, this has moved this much each time. I'll kind of look at what's happened in the past, and sometimes that'll give me an idea of like, okay, that's as far as I'm going with it. I'm not going to push it. Although that can cause me to miss an even bigger move. But yes, I have actually used that before. More visually, I don't typically always go in and draw anything. Yeah, I want to see how it works. Maybe Butterfly can provide if he doesn't mind, a little I don't know if you're able to, but if you can provide like a little maybe a drawing or something to show like how you're using it in conjunction with the Anchored LRC, that would be awesome. Of course, when you put it on now, it only gives you like right here, so you can't really see much. Well, maybe you can still see. I'll pull it up real quick. Did I hit it? Yeah, did it twice. So this is the TTM. I don't know if you change the settings, Butterfly. It looks like it was the same. These are the settings. Length is 38. I'm sure where you can change your how far back it looks. This is 38 candles. Um, so you can make it go further back. Let me do 100. Just see what that does. I'm not sure if he uses his on the standard setting or he changes his setting. Oh, that's interesting. I just did 500, so it's all the way back to here. That's pretty cool. Now, does it give you indicators? It says exit left. Oh, extend left or extend right. Okay, so you can extend both ways with it. And you can do dates as well. That's pretty cool. I wonder I wonder why it's called TTM. Oh, that's just deviation. The downside deviation and upside deviation. You and your multipliers. That multiplier is money though. That thing is so good. Yeah, yeah, I was looking at that and to see if that was what he was talking about, but I realized that he said it was in TOS, so it's actually their old code. This has to be new because I've searched for TTM many times to get the squeeze and never saw that pop up. So pretty interesting. I'll have to pay it to take a look at it. I'm not so sure what the TTM is unless that's somebody's initials or something that um, I'm not. I really don't know the answer to that. So anyway, yeah, I'll take a look at it as well. Scroll up. What's up, Knight?
Yo, I don't have much time, but Metals man, awesome. Be able to trade every single day. Just setups actually help me personally coach to become better with everything. And I just want to say you're awesome, and whoever wants to play with you, well served.
Oh, stop it. I'm just kidding. Thanks, Knight. That was nice, man.
No, no worries, man. Talk to you later. Bye.
All right. He's the future trader, Alex. He's the guy that he kicks butt future trading, and he's usually done very, very early. I need to probably start trading futures with this strategy. I think I'm going to wrap it up unless you guys have any other questions. And if you guys have anything you want to ask later or whatever, just feel free. You can send me a DM or I do answer DMs, but just remember I will never send you a DM. I will never send you a friend request. I don't accept friend requests, and I do not offer um, any paid advice or sell you anything other than just the membership to the Discord if you want to join the Discord for live trading. That's it. So, unfortunately, there's a lot of scammers out there that will send you stuff, and they're really good at tricking you. So, anyway, I just wanted to say that before I leave. That way, you guys don't get taken advantage of by a scammer. But I think I will hop off. I'm gonna call it a night. Thanks for coming by. Hopefully we all kind of learned something um, and we just keep getting better and stay green. You're very welcome.
Thanks, madam. I posted the screenshots I mentioned earlier for everybody to look at.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that. I'll take a look at it. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you guys. Catch you later. Have a good night.
Thank you, madam.